I'm Dr. Brian Nickel, your cannabis expert for CannabisExpertMD.com, with a frequently asked question. This one is from Dayton in Layton, Florida. Is Layton a real town there, Mr. Producer?
Yes, it is.
Really is? Okay, it just sounds kind of made up to me. But Dayton, it says, some of the weed I use make me nervous. It probably means makes me nervous and sometimes paranoid. Sometimes it's a sativa and sometimes it's an indica strain. What strains would be best for me to avoid? Well, Dayton, high-dose THC alone, that can cause anxiety and paranoia in many patients. Using CBD in combination with THC can help moderate some of the euphoric effects of THC that are experienced and some of the paranoia that may actually be experienced as a consequence of that. Balanced strains containing significant amounts of CBD, like a 1-to-1 CBD to THC ratio, they're available in many areas and are a very easy way to moderate the anxiety and paranoia that some patients using high THC strains will experience. However, in some markets, there's not a lot of these balanced strains being produced. They're primarily concentrating on high THC flower. Mixing CBD flower with a predominantly THC containing strain is an easy way to create your own custom balanced flower of an appropriate CBD to THC ratio for your purposes. Now you're just going to take a small bud of THC flower and place that on one side of your grinder. You're going to take an approximately same size bud of CBD flower, put that on the other side of your grinder, give it a few turns to grind it, shake it a few times to mix, and there you are. You've just created a CBD to THC flower that there may not be producing locally of an approximately 1-to-1 CBD to THC ratio. Generally speaking, THC flower runs from 17-18% THC right about to the mid-20s as far as THC concentration goes. Most of the CBD flower runs anywhere in the 14 to 16% range on the low side, up to the mid-20s on the high side as far as CBD concentration goes. For our purposes, consider equal amounts of flower to contain approximately the same levels of cannabinoids. By modifying the CBD to THC ratio, you alter the effects that the cannabis will produce. Most conditions for which patients are using medical cannabis respond best to a combination of CBD and THC. You will likely find improved symptom control when you start using flower blends when you add additional CBD in there. The headspace produced, that can also be modified by the CBD to THC ratio. A high CBD to THC ratio, again, proportionally more CBD than THC being used, that results in a lower euphoric effect for most patients. This allows patients to effectively use their medication and really minimize the main side effect of cannabis, which is feeling high. In some patients with PTSD or high anxiety conditions, cannabis strains that contain high levels of the terpene pinene can produce panic attacks or paranoia. Pinene is usually found in strains that are considered sativa hybrids. With the extensive hybridization and crossbreeding of cannabis over the years, the sativa-dominant, indica-dominant hybrid thing doesn't mean a whole lot anymore. There are some sativa-dominant hybrids that can be very, very, very relaxing, and some of these indica-dominant hybrids that should be sedating that can actually make one quite nervous and paranoid. You must examine the laboratory analysis of a strain being considered locally to really determine the terpenes that are actually present. So Dayton, you're going to look for more balanced CBD to THC ratio to see if it is the THC that is causing your paranoia. Look for a balanced strain if there are some available in your area. If not, switch over to flower mixing. If this does solve your problem, well, high THC is an issue for you and you figured out how to treat it. If even using CBD mixing, you're having issues with certain strains, that's probably a good time to examine the actual terpene composition of the flower that you're using and try to find something with a lower total concentration of pinene present. For more information on all things medical cannabis, be sure to check us out at CannabisExpertMD.com. We're also available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Cannabis Expert MD.